this month. It's the 1997 movie, I believe, after GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies. This is one I don't own, so I'm going to watch it on Netflix right now. It's about an hour and 50 minutes, so let's get started. I wanted to see this movie for a long time. It's been so many years. Because this Bond movie is kind of underrated, and it's the one that came out a few years after to GoldenEye, the gold standard for Pierce Brosnan after he finally became Bond. And this was one of the shorter Bond movies of the 90s, because most Bond movies are like over 2 hours long. I'm like, I don't get why this franchise is that long. Dr. No was like an hour and 40 minutes. It was short. It was not this long. Bam. It's a classic franchise, but man, these last couple movies have been way too long. Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die. They're way too long, guys. Stop making these movies this long. A terrorist arms bazaar on the Russian border. I haven't seen this movie in many years. I think I saw it on cable back in the 2010s. Yeah, because I didn't see this in 97. My dad was a fan of the Bond films, but after like Die Another Day, he kind of took a break because Casino Royale came out. It's like, Bond isn't a blonde. It's not the hair color, it's the tone. Those movies are just too serious. I mean, I don't want to Bond not taken seriously, but I don't want a melodrama either. I want something fun. This is a mix of fun and serious. Oh, great! It's that stupid guy from the CW. He's also in Resident Evil, what I'm gonna do tomorrow. But I could. There's Judi Dench, not as a cat this time. There's Brits in this, but like I said, I knew what I was getting into. At least I'm doing this and not Pirates of the Caribbean, because those are way too long. They have all the Bond movies here, I believe. Yeah, even Never Say Never Again, which I might do that one some other time. Because I have Thunderball, but I haven't seen the remake in a while. It's non-canon because it's not Eon produced. M. And there's some women in this movie. You got Michelle Yao, young Michelle Yao, before she did Everything Everywhere All at Once. You have Terry Hatcher, who I heard was hard to work with because again, she probably has a temper. Trust me, I know. Well, I wasn't hard to work with on stage, but some people were. It's a good looking film. Martin Campbell didn't direct this one. I forgot who directed this movie, but Mission Impossible didn't need to be this, though. This was a year after the first Mission Impossible, and they try to make that as British as this. I'm like, yeah, but Ethan Hunt is not British. Not even in the... Out of there. I watched this for Bond, the action, and the girls. That's pretty much it. The plot is secondary in these movies because they're mostly the same plot. Bond has to stop a terrorist or, a criminal of some kind, of international criminal or something like that. And, and rinse and repeat. It's been the same formula since Dr. No back in the 60s. But it's a formula that worked for a while. But No Time to Die was just way too long. You don't need 2 hours and 45 minutes, guys. Stop making movies that long. I don't need to sit through a movie that long. This is an hour and 155. Yeah, an hour and 55. That's long, but not insanely long. Those are chess pieces. White Knight. Like in that the first Harry Potter movie. The villain here is Jonathan Pryce, who's also red. There's Bond. Finally, I just saw a movie with Pierce Brosnan, but he was the bad guy. Here, he's the hero. Yeah, he's a spy, but he has to be stealthy too. I'm shocked that these are on Netflix because I don't think were the Bond movies on HBO Max. I think they were, yeah, but not all of them, just most of them, because they're MGM movies, so they're not on Paramount Plus. This is basically what they wanted to do in Die Another Day, except this is not as cartoonish. Some good memories of this movie. I had just seen it once. I've seen GoldenEye at least 2 or 3 times, but I've only seen this movie once. Bond never needed CGI to be cool because, again, the original 60s films and the 70s didn't have any CG, or the 80s as well. It wasn't until the 90s they started putting CG in the Bond films. I'm like, some of it looked okay, but a lot of it looks terrible. Like in Die Another Day, it looks fake, even in 2002 when that was the same year Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers came out. And Attack of the Clones, which I know so a lot of people hated Attack of the Clones because it looks too digital, but I'm like, guys, it was 2002. And after 9/11, movies had to go digital because, well, it was a faster way to make effects at that time. This was 1997. That cold stare. You're not a subscriber. Goodbye. See, this is the kind of chats that I'm avoiding. When I do my videos on my computer, I usually don't have a problem with the chat because it's more protected than my phone. Watch it. Your co-pilot is a traitor. It's a good action scene to open a film. Up in the mountains, and it's a real mountains. It's not a CG mountain. It's real. I'm sick of seeing the snow, but winter's almost over, so not the whole movie is in the snow. I remember that. Wow. Barely made it. And Brosnan is from Northern Ireland. He's not British, but it's close enough. I wish Karen Gillan would be one of these movies. She could be a Bond girl. Why not? We've never had a Scottish woman be a Bond girl, right? No, I don't think so. I don't remember. I know we've had British and Irish girls, but not really Scottish girls in the Bond franchise. Because we've had Welsh actresses as well. Italian actresses. We've had French actresses. This opening is pretty cool. Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, Asian. Terry Hatcher. Joe Don Baker. Ricky Jayes. Gotts Otto. Desmond Llewellyn. May he rest in peace. Vincent Schiavelli. Oh, may he also rest in peace. Judi Dench as M. I'm not crying, it's just I have some things in my eye. This opening is pretty cool. Miniatures. See, they actually use miniatures in this. Of course, they barely do that now because everything is CG. It's too digital. Costume designer, a woman, Lindy Hemming. See, I told you the female body was a work of art. Sheryl Crow, she sang the Tomorrow Never Dies. This is before The Matrix came out also, because this was 97. Yeah, Roger Spottiswoode, I never heard of him, who directed this movie, because I heard of Martin Campbell and John Glenn, but not Martin Spottiswoode, never heard of him. I don't think I've ever seen another movie with him that he directed, because I never heard of him. Yeah, this scene reminds me of the one in Captain America, Brad. Yeah, because I was not gonna put Die Another Day. It's ridiculous, and also I don't want to see Rosamund Pike. I'm not doing any podcast with her for most of this year because she isn't worth any of my time. A Chinese port during COVID? Yeah, I don't think so. Even though they're doing trips over there now because COVID levels are down, but it's still out there. There's still cases. Yeah, this movie would not be remade today. Russia and China, yeah, two countries that are at war right now or going through COVID. Maybe maybe St. Patrick's Day I could do the Boondock Saints, the first movie. I haven't done it yet. Just the first one, not the sequel. I might see the sequel, but I'm not gonna do a podcast for that one. I'll do the first one because that's very Irish. And this is a long franchise. That's why I'm doing one at a time. I think there's like 30 films or 20 something. I forgot. Let's see. Not counting Never Say Never Again. I see Doctor No, Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, Honor Majesty Secret Service, Diamonds Are Forever, uh, Moonraker, The Spy Who Loved Me, The Man with the Golden Gun, that's 9. Live and Let Die, that's 10. You got The Living Daylights, that's 11. You got oh yeah, You Only Live Twice. I forgot that one. That's 12. Not in chronological order. You got License to Kill, Golden Eye, this movie, that's 15. The World Is Not Enough, that's 16. Out. You got Die Another Day, that's 17. No, that's not 30. You have uh oh yeah, you have Octopussy, A View to a Kill, For Your Eyes Only. That's about 20. Um, who else? You got Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. So 25 movies. I thought there was 30, unless I'm missing one. Yeah, there's 25. Close to 30. Because I don't count Never Say Never Again because it's a remake of Thunderball. Yeah. So there's about 25 Bond movies. I can't do 25 Bond movies. It's way too long. I only want to do franchises that are pretty short this year, that are not more than 6, you know? Because I did all the Star Wars prequels. I did all the originals. I did all 3 Back to the Future films. I did all the hand-drawn Swan Princess movies. I did 3 out of 4 of the Avengers movies. I still got to do Endgame. I'm doing a podcast. So why do so many people bother me during a podcast? Hold on. That's in New Jersey. Yeah, so yeah, because there's 25 Bond movies, and there's another Casino Royale, but it's not a Bond movie. It's like a comedy with Peter Sellers. It doesn't count. That and Never Say Never Again, because again, it wasn't Eon produced. British sailors killed. Yeah, we know. And this is when the Bond movies are getting more digital, where we're using computers. They didn't use computers in the original from the 60s. Ammunition. Yeah, they try to talk prim and proper, but I think they're pretentious. I'm sorry. You know, most of these Brits think that they're better than us because they're like, oh, we have a queen. I'm like, she passed away, right? May she rest in peace, but she passed away. Meghan Markle could be one baby queen. She's a duchess because she's not British. She's just married to one. Of course, it's off screen because this is a PG-13 movie. We have never had a R-rated Bond movie. The closest, Kingsman, but that's a different animal because it's more like a parody of Bond movies, and it's in England. It's not like they do international espionage or whatever. I'm glad Netflix put this on here though, because I haven't seen this movie in so many years. This and The World Is Not Enough I haven't watched in so long. But I want to get that movie on DVD so I could hear the commentary. This I wanted to do a commentary. Yeah. Wow, this guy's full of himself. He looks like Terrence Stamp in this movie. I'm shocked that Terrence Stamp, may he rest in peace, didn't do he didn't play a Bond villain. Outstanding. He was also in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was Elizabeth's father in those movies. I'm like, why? I don't know. Because Disney was obsessed with Brits. I'm not, guys. I could not care less. I know I'm gonna see movies with Brits this summer, but it's not gonna be it's not gonna be I'm obligated. I'm not doing it because I want to get pleasure out of it. I mean, you got Supergirl. She's not played by a Brit, but there's some characters in the movie that are. And then you got Spider-Man, and then you got the Odyssey, etc. Not even Mario has one, but at least Mario, I'm in good hands. It's 98 minutes long. It's not gonna be over 2 hours. And Mission Impossible is over. There's not gonna be another one. Hey John, what's up, Salvatore? At least I know it's you. Yeah, this this guy's a yeah, babe. Wow, you're over the top, dude. Olga Kurylenko's cute, but she was underused in the MCU. She was a Bond girl and one of the weakest ones. I have no idea what they're saying. Yeah, my mom doesn't like these movies because he beds every woman. I'm like, Bond is a himbo. He bangs everything he sees because that's how men are. We like women. When we're heterosexual, we don't hide our attraction. Like, how dare he? Should they're not married? Again, what's the problem? This is a fantasy. I just rewatched GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies coincidentally not too long ago. It had been a while since I've seen them. Yeah, I haven't seen this movie in years. This is the first time I'm streaming it on a streaming service. Because before streaming services, I had to see movies on cable, on satellite or cable. Oh, Danish. I thought it was German. Just say I'm banging a girl. Why do you have to hide it? Jeez. Why are guys trying to be so discreet? I'm not subtle about it. That's not the same actress that played Moneypenny. There have been several actresses after Lois Maxwell. Quantum of Solace, the problem is it's a broken movie because it has an unfinished script because of the writer's strike. The action was okay. Thus, Olga was also in November Man. Again, I've seen that. And there's more movies in this franchise than Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, and the Kingsman movies combined. Think about that. There were 8 Harry Potter movies and 3 spin-offs. There were 5 Pirates movies. Yeah. Yeah. That's more than all of those combined. An entendre. He's like, how dare he bang a woman? I'm like, again, that's what heterosexual men do, whether they're married or not. Have you seen High Heat? No. The Chinese Air Force. This is more topical now than it was in 1997. 2 days. And it's a good looking film. Like, it's from 97, but it doesn't look as dated as movies from now. Because it actually looks like a film. All the 90s Bond movies look like that. GoldenEye, this movie, and The World Is Not Enough. They may be flawed, but they're not dated the way they look. Now action movies are just too clean. Like, not clean in content. I'm saying, like, they look too polished. Nothing looks real anymore. It looks very digital. Look at Expendables 4. Oh my god, that movie, I'm not going to see it. I hated 3, so why would I want to see 4? And this is a much better movie than the Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's like a half hour shorter. It doesn't get enough credit, and it's a better movie. This and The World Is Not Enough, they're flawed, but they're better movies than the last 2 Mission Impossibles because they're not 2.5 hours. Sorry, guys, I don't want to see a movie that long. A lot of these movies are just, yes, some of these movies are over long, but they didn't get overly long until Daniel Craig. The longest Bond movie before Daniel Craig was On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is my least favorite of that era. Because George Lazenby wasn't horrible, but he was a bit underwhelming. And the movie's 2 hours and 22 minutes. 2 hours and 22 minutes. That's long, guys. Why does every movie want to be as long as The Dark Knight? I don't get it. Guys, I don't get it. I don't understand why that movie's so long. Batman 1989 was only under 2 hours if you don't count the end credits. I met the girl from The World Is Not Enough. German. Denise Richards, I met her at Comic-Con 2 years ago. Sophie Marceau, I haven't seen yet. Q, I miss him a lot, man. Because I didn't like the Q in the Daniel Craig movies. It was some nerdy guy with glasses. You look nothing like Q. I know he was younger there. It's a prequel, but it's before, Bond is 007, because they don't call him that in Casino Royale. But, man, can't you get a Q that actually reminds you? I didn't like that Q. John Cleese was okay, but he didn't get a chance to shine. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, new? That phone is ancient now, Q. Now phones have 4K restoration. Maybe Bond should have AI in the next one, because that's the future, guys. A villain that uses AI. Q has the coolest gadgets. Self-driving cars, like now. So Q was kind of ahead of his time. He was able to do most of the Bond movies until The World Is Not Enough was his last. I like the music in these movies. It makes you pumped, you know? This is where he meets one of the girls. How far are we in? We're about 30 minutes. About 31. A woman's voice again. That's all Bond lives for. That's the problem with these new Bond movies. He barely bangs the girls that he's with. I mean, Anna de Armas, she doesn't even kiss her. Lashana Lynch, no, get out of here. You're not my type. And then you know, the French Taylor Swift, you know, what was her name? Leah Sedal, yeah. James Bond. What do you know? There's Michelle Yeoh. She's absolutely gorgeous in this movie. Love Asian women. She's Malaysian, so she's not just Chinese. She's oh, you're so sexy. She's still attractive to this day. She's naturally beautiful. Mm. Mm. She's stunning. She's absolutely stunning. Nothing against Terry Hatcher. There she is. But, you know, Michelle won an Oscar. And she's in a lot of stuff now. It had to be you. You get to see her back and her short hair. So you give the people what they want. Yeah. Hello, beautiful girl. Yep, that was real, by the way. She slaps him because, again, Terry Hatcher has a bad temper. A lot of people say she's hard to work with here and in, what was it called? Desperate Housewives. I get it. She's part Irish. Of course she's going to have a bad temper. She's just sexy, man. This was after Lois and Clark, by the way, because Lois and Clark was in 92 and it was over by 97. An American woman, that's good. That's the thing, Salvatore. I don't have a favorite Bond girl in the Craig era because they all die or they're underused. I don't have one. Because it's not Eva Green because she dies. It's not the Italian woman because she disappears. It's not Olga Kurylenko. It's definitely not Gemma Arterton. She's terrible. Who was in Skyfall? I forgot. It's just this... Monica Bellucci was Inspector, but she was underused. Leah Sedal's attractive, but she's way too young for Bond. I know I don't really care about age, but it's kind of weird when you have a girl in her 20s being with a guy who's in his 50s. It's just a little strange. Not for me in real life, I'm saying in that movie, because while Pierce Brosnan is older than Terry Hatcher, she wasn't like 20 when she did this. Yeah, Tango and Cash, I want to do that eventually, but that's more of a manly movie. I could do that in April. And her voice is sexy. Yeah, Jonathan Pryce is way older than her. That slap was real. I know it's... God, these women are so sexy. Because I never found Rosamund Pike sexy. I'm sorry, guys. One of the worst Bond girls in easily one of the weakest Bond movies. Now, I don't hate it like a lot of people do, but it's highly flawed. Pierce Brosnan could have been in Expendables. Yeah, he could have instead of Glenn Powell and Liam Hemsworth and that guy from Twilight. A lot of its action stars they never did should have appeared in them. Yeah, Seagal he didn't want to do it because he doesn't like Avi Lerner, the guy from Millennium Films. They have a grudge. Because I didn't like any of the girls in the last two Mission Impossible movies except for Rebecca Ferguson. The other girls, I like Palm Clemente, but she doesn't do much. Like the new girls that they added, I didn't give a damn about any of them. I didn't like Vanessa Kirby. I don't like the turkey. I didn't like Hannah Waddingham in the last one. Yeah, it was time to move on from nostalgia. Yeah, I know. Let me lie down. This is a long movie. Yeah, I can lie down now because I haven't done that in a while. Because movies nowadays are just too long. Yeah, they can't be like under 2 hours. They have to be over 2 hours, and I don't get why. Because I'm like, guys, I'm not gonna live to be 1,000. Get to the point faster. Let your editors cut out things that don't need to be in the film. Because there's a lot of films that could have been cut entirely. In the Final Reckoning, you could have cut 5 characters from the movie, and it would have made the movie 20 minutes shorter, which would have been a huge, huge blessing. Charles Bronson and Pierce Brosnan both have similar last names, yeah, but they're spelled differently. That's Bronson and he's Brosnan. So we know. Again, you don't have to tell us. On F. I haven't heard all the commentaries from the Bond movies. Well, most of the Daniel Craig movies don't have commentaries because I saw I don't think Quantum of Solace has one. I know that there's a commentary for Skyfall in the Blu-ray, but I'll eventually see it again, but I'm not doing a podcast for it. It's just too long. It felt like The Dark Knight. I'm like, why is this movie 2.5 hours? Albert Finney had a cameo in that. I'm like, you did not need him in the film. He could have been cut. We'll be 30 years old next year. Yeah, but not doing this for the anniversary. I'm doing this because for Women's Month. It's International Women's Month. So I'm acknowledging all women, well, most women this month. They always want power. WhatsApp. I don't go with WhatsApp. Goodbye. Because this movie gets right to the action. It doesn't have to wait an hour for that to happen. Because a Bond movie would be boring if there's no action in it. That's what happened in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I'm like, you make the movie 3 hours long, almost 3 hours, and then it's boring, man. I was like, oh my god, just something blow up or somebody chase somebody, please. I'm begging you. It had the pacing of a snail, dude. Taffin with Pierce Brosnan was decent. Should have had more action in it. I haven't seen Taffin. I've seen The Detonator and Livewire. I'm gonna do podcasts for those too. I'll try to do them either this month or in April. Yeah, Shmi. Yep. Power off. Yeah, you need power to do a podcast. I have no idea what she's saying. Poor girl. Of course, Dante Speaks a great one. I did that one already. Thomas Crown Affair remake was decent, but the third act was too long, guys. The third act felt like another movie. Like the heist already happened in the first two acts. Why did you need a third act? When it felt like another, like a epilogue for another movie. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't like that. The original's better because it was focused. It wasn't like I haven't seen the original in a long time, the Thomas Crown Affair, but it's a better movie because it's shorter and it's better paced. The remake was just like the last 30 minutes weren't necessary. You could have stopped at like an hour and 25 minutes or an hour and 30. I mean, they stretched it out a little bit. I didn't hate it. It needed better pacing. Same thing with another 90s movie, Entrapment. I think that was in the 90s. I think it was in 99. I thought that Connery and Catherine Zeta Jones had no chemistry because Connery was very old. And yeah, it was just dull. I like seeing Catherine Zeta Jones's bum, but that's only because I'm a guy. I'm a heterosexual man and proud. And Terry Hatcher's voice is so sexy in this. It's too bad that she doesn't get much to do in the film. She doesn't get to use a gun or anything. I found out Philip Noyce directed Fast Charlie with Pierce. Man, Salvatore, you know a lot of movies I never even heard of. Because again, I've been doing podcasts for my collection, which is massive. I have dozens of films on DVD and Blu-ray, and a couple on digital as well. Mm, you're so lovely. I like her short hair. It's just she has the same bad rap that Brie Larson got. That they're hard to work with or whatever. The latest one he did in 2023, I never heard of that film. I heard of the Misfits, but I heard that was bad with Pierce Brosnan and Jamie Chung. Mm, bosoms. Yeah, Josh is gonna be like, I knew you were gonna say that. I'm like, yeah, Josh. Why do you think I do a Bond movie? There's always girls in every single one of these films. At least Die Another Day had Halle Berry. That was something I could look at for over almost 2 hours. In over 2 hours, because I love black women. Hmm. Yeah, her voice is soothing. It's very calm and like kind of like a whisper. I've never done a movie with her before because I haven't done Tango and Cash or Coraline. That animated movie where she did a voice. She wasn't Coraline. She was Coraline's mother. He's like his face looks indifferent. He's not like enamored with her as much as Michelle Yeoh or the lady that he was banging in the beginning of the film. Yep, got a touch. Raining here in Australia. Well, it's not raining here. Not for a couple more days. Yep, we get to see her back and her booty, so that's not too bad. Price is a good actor. It's just here he's a bit of a hammy. I bet they wanted Tim Curry, but he was doing a bunch of voice acting jobs in the '90s, so they never got Tim Curry for a Bond movie. That would have been awesome in the '90s before he got a stroke. Look at those stockings, those nylons. Mm. The press is dead now. No one reads newspapers anymore. That's one dated aspect of this movie, that people read newspapers because they don't anymore. I barely see them get taken off the racks now because you can read the news on the internet now. The internet was fairly new in '97. He's on the roof. There's the phone. 300 million dollars. Some movies in the theater do make that kind of money. I hope Poppers doesn't make a lot. I really don't want it to be a huge hit. I'm like, Pixar, you haven't done a good movie. Well, let's see. Inside Out 2 was good, but that was 2 years ago. Last year, Elio was a disaster, and I didn't like it. And, well, Zootopia 2 was good, but it was not a Pixar movie. It was a Disney movie. And those have had a better track record because, Frozen 2 were really good. And the Wreck-It Ralph movies, I enjoyed both of them. They just have a better track record than those Pixar's had in a while. Because a lot of the movies in this decade flopped for Pixar. Yeah, some of it was because of COVID, but Onward wouldn't have made $1 billion even if it was released a year before COVID. It just wasn't that interesting. It was kind of dull, and there's barely any girl characters I cared about in that. A syringe, drugs. We're almost an hour into the movie, so we're about half done. Yeah. Also, don't forget. Well, not you, Salvatore. You don't. They don't have daylight savings time where you live. But in America and Canada, you have to push the clocks forward by tomorrow night. There she, yeah. And this is Michelle Yeoh after she did Super Cop. So she blew up in the U.S. after that, and before Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, so that was the year 2000. Again, that's a great shot. A Bond. It's a far off shot of him running. This really is a good looking film. Like I love the way this film, the aesthetic of it, and it's well shot. It's not in the dark. It's not heavily edited like the Taken sequels or Transporter 3. Look at this stunt. Yeah, it's like the Matrix or Mission Impossible 4, which is was many years after this. The stunt work in this is pretty good. I'll say that. Yep, you fell right into the. Wow, there's some blood. Yeah, again, it's a PG-13 movie. He bled all over the newspapers. Okay, that was funny. That was a good joke. They'll print anything these days. You're right, Bond. Especially about the war that we're living in, the war that's happening right now, and all these bombings and everything. I'm not going to talk about it though. Like I said, this channel is not for political views. I'm not on any side. It's like The Hunt. I'm glad the movie didn't take sides because it was a very entertaining movie for something that came out during COVID. Because you know, the lead girl in that movie is freaking awesome. Good stunt work, man. Dun, dun, dun. Love this score so much, man. It's good in all the movies, even in the worst Bond movies. That music, I can always count on it to be entertaining because it was in all the films, even the recent ones. I just wish the casino. I just wish the Craig era were more fun and less shorter films because unfortunately his movies are too long. Casino Royale was what 2 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty damn long. Quantum of Solace was the only one under 2 hours because again made during the writer strike. But then by Skyfall, I'm like, why is this 2 hours and 20 minutes? And then Spectre was 2.5 hours, and No Time to Die was 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna kill me. Yeah, these movies need to be shorter. I'm tired of either put an intermission in the movie or make the film shorter. It's not mandated. Just like, oh, but if you chop a action movie to 90 minutes, it's going to be mandated. No, if it needs to be shorter, it needs to be shorter. Spider Man does not need to be 2.5 hours. Brand New Day needs to be about 2 hours and 5 minutes. No more nor less. That'll be good enough. Not 2.5 hours. Because no time, no Way Home was very long, but both cuts. But it's epic. So that's why there's an extended cut that of scenes that didn't need to be in the film. I'm fine with the theatrical cut.
See, they killed her off screen. Why? Because Terry Hatcher's not the lead girl in this. Michelle Yeoh is. They killed her off screen. I hate when they do that. I miss you, Vincent Chiavelli. Yeah, he was Italian. Yeah, I miss him so much. He was a good actor. Yeah, he was a really good actor. I miss him a lot. He was in Batman Returns, the Hey Arnold movie. He was in yeah. He was also in the '70s. He did a one of his first films that I remember him being in was he did like a Russian accent in A Rescue from Gilligan's Island from the '70s. Yeah, I really miss him a lot. At least he lived a long life. Sledgehammers, the he could do accents. Yeah, from Scrooge. Yeah, he was a treasure, man. The car is indestructible, guys. You can't destroy it. You can't blow it up. You can't smash it with hammers. It's indestructible. Of course, there is no car like that. Of course not. The car is indestructible. You don't know what to say. Yep. Again, that phone is a gadget. Yep. He killed him. It's a good cameo though. I liked Vince Schiavelli. I miss him a lot. He's still gonna kiss her. I'm like, dude, she's dead. You can't caress a woman after they're dead. No, I prefer the living because a living, breathing woman, not unconscious, by the way, because I'm not Bill Cosby. You can feel more of them. You know that you can hold them and they can hold you. It's what makes us human and not aliens, guys. Human interaction. That's what's missing in society today. Too many people on their phones, looking at a phone screen or a tablet screen instead of looking at other people. I use my phone when I go to Comic Con, but I also want to talk to people in person, not behind not behind an alley or something like that. This is cool, a self-driving car like the Batmobile. This was a terrible year for superhero movies in '97. It made last year look like it was great because at least last year we had Superman, but in '97 we had Spawn, Steel, and Batman and Robin. Three terrible movies. Yeah, Marvel didn't even have a movie until a year later with Blade. They had some TV shows in the 90s, but not a movie. Because Blade is the one that saves comic book movies at that time. Because, you know, if it wasn't for Blade, superhero movies would not exist today. That was awesome. That was pretty awesome. The car's driving itself. Well, he's using a remote, but still, it's a self-driving car, remote controlled. Wonder Woman has an invisible jet, but it's not indestructible. Spikes, yep. The oldest trick in the book. Yep, this car has rockets. Like I said, it is the Batmobile. It just doesn't have the flames or that the top of it. And these are real cars, not CGI. They're prop cars, but they're real. Take that, Fast and the Furious. Oh God, he's got a rocket launcher. Whoa! Again, I miss real explosions. Why does everything have to be so digital now? This is a cool scene. I forgot about this scene because again, I haven't watched this movie in years. It's a BMW. This is a product placement. Oh, clothesline. That was pretty awesome. This is a really fun movie. I'm glad I'm watching it again. And it looks great. Netflix has no ads for some of these films. Not for me anyway. Wow. Again, this did it 20 years before you did Fast and the Furious. Yeah. This was 97. A car didn't go through a building until like what, like 2015? That's still an awesome scene, man. Most of the film it works like that because these aren't realistic, guys. These are action movies. They're not supposed to be realistic. They're fiction. I'm glad to have American actors in this movie. A few, but it's fine. It makes me feel welcome. Hold on. I don't like the casting in films now, too. A lot of it is just the same actors.
I don't like the Felix. Because Denise Richards in the next movie, she's introduced so late. You kind of forget she was in it. There's some decent humor. It doesn't get goofy. It's not like Die Another Day where there's a lot of comedy in that. Nam, we lost it, Nam. I'll say they did this in Mission Impossible Fallout, but at night. A dive, yeah, but that was the last movie in the franchise that was worth seeing in the theater. Mm-hmm. This is similar to Mission Impossible, except this did it better than Final Reckoning. It did. That movie should have started on the sub, not wait an hour and a half to get to there. I was just so bored, man. That movie bored me out of my gourd. That's why I didn't stream it on Paramount Plus. I'm like, Mom, the movie's almost 3 hours long. It's almost as long as Wicked, and it did not need to be that long. It's like these directors are keeping us hostage in the theater. Like, you're going to sit through 3 hours. I'm like, no, I'm not. Because 3-hour movies are not making money anymore. Except for Avatar, because James Cameron pretty much has a hold on his audience. Every 3-hour movie has bombed. Since Endgame, a lot of them have bombed. They're just too damn long. Oppenheimer got lucky that it came out the same time as Barbie. Barbenheimer, but that's not going to save The Odyssey. If it's boring, it's going to fail at the box office. I trust Nolan, it's just I don't think that he should be making movies 4 hours long. We got better things to do, Nolan. This movie's not boring. It's long, but it's not boring. The scene is, yeah, it's similar. They copied this scene in Final Reckoning, and I'm like, it was done better here in the '90s. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Bring the boat. They killed him. There weren't a lot of Asians in the Bond films, no. There were Asians in You Only Live Twice in the '60s, but that was a different time. She's so cute. Yeah, they show Jonathan Price's face a lot in this movie. That banner of him, you see it throughout the most of the film. Saigon. Oh, you're too old for her anyway. Mm. She still has her hair too. Crisis grows. We know. China warns of war again. Again, we know the Empire will strike back again. George Lucas, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's a nice in joke, even though this is MGM, not 20th Century Fox. Internet. Now, internet. TV, magazines, and newspapers don't matter anymore because people don't read them. Hmm. Just so he has a bad eye. Hmm. Again, I know the feeling. Yeah, like Going in the House was one of the worst TV shows I've ever seen in my life. And this is a much better movie than Mercy. That movie's boring. No, not those artifacts, no. Wow. Good stunt work. Man, that's a high fall. Don't try this at home. Whoa! Yeah. Physics be damned. That's not how physics work. What a fly. That's still too high. Again, really good stunt work, man. Again, Mission Impossible took a lot from this movie, especially the sequels. Because let's face it, Mission Impossible 2 wanted to be Bond, and it's not Bond. It's something completely different. See, he broke through the window. Which Mission Impossible movie did they do that in? 4. One of the best sequels. Motorcycle scene, Fallout, and also Rogue Nation. And the sub scene, that's from 8. So they took a lot from these movies. Dun, 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 dun. This is a good scene. Hey, that's not the position. Don't get any ideas. I mean, Michelle's still hot. I'm gonna say that. Yeah, that's my fantasy. Me and Nia Damison. This movie really is a spectacle. This is a really cool scene. This movie has a lot of really good action sequences. That's what saves it. That and also the plot is a bit convoluted, but it's still a very entertaining Bond movie. I'm glad I picked this one, even though it's a really, it's a sequel that was years after the original, Doctor No. But I'm not doing these in order, so there's 25 of these movies, and this is only one of 25. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'm very entertained that this movie's almost 30 years old. Yet action movies today are just too long and boring, and they have too many characters in it. This only has two girls, not four. Balance the bike. Did you hear that, folks? Yeah. Only one person wrote this. That's why it's not as it's not a mess. Wow. That was incredible, man. And they really did that. Stunt doubles did that. That wasn't CGI. That was really a stunt. Again, Mission Impossible also took this scene for with the motorcycle in at the end of Dead Reckoning Part One. Yeah, they jumped the mountain. Of course, that's a more crazier stunt because he jumps off a mountain, not on a building. Because with Tom Cruise, he always has to top himself. Except in eight, there was nothing to top because it was already topped in that. The mountain scene was the peak of the no pun intended was the peak of the franchise. That was the last action scene I was wowed by. Final Reckoning, I was just bored looking at my phone the whole time because I was like, my God, this movie's too long. I gotta change my clock. Let me do that now. It's 11:36. I'm gonna put 12:36. There we go. I changed it because I gotta change the clocks in a couple of hours anyway. So there, 12:37. I put. She's so hot, man. She's petite too. Because Michelle Yeoh is not very tall, but she's a gorgeous woman, man. As a woman, she's exciting. Mm. This is pretty awesome, man. Again, absolutely stunning, man. This is one of the best Bond sequels of the '90s. I'll say that. It really is. Because I'm like, technically, GoldenEye is a sequel to, well, not really a sequel, but it's a continuation of the Bond story, just with a different actor. That was great, man. That was one of the best action scenes of the movie, easily, without question. They're taking a bath in public, yeah, with their clothes on because this is not a this is a PG-13 movie. She's absolutely stunning, man. They do have good chemistry. That's why they put her as the main girl. Why? She's hot, man. Of course, he took it out. Bond is not stupid. He just pulled the pipe of the water out like it was nothing, like it was a twig. This is a good movie. I haven't. I don't remember how action packed it was, but it really is entertaining. And after watching some boring freaking action movies last year, I was like, yeah, I need to go back and watch some of these movies again because they look Oscar worthy compared to some of the movies I sat through last year that just bored me to death. They have action, but they don't have enough, or they have action sequences that are too digital. That's why I didn't see Fantastic Four, First Steps, or Thunderbolts because you're not going to top this. You can make an entertaining PG-13 movie and still make your money. Yeah. Stop wasting the money, the budget on CG and actors that can't act. That's a waste of money, guys. This movie did not cost $200 million. It is a big, yeah, she has to do some kung fu thing because, again, Michelle Yeoh is trained in martial arts. It's badass. Yeah. Also, they go to Asia in the third Mission Impossible. I'm not saying Mission Impossible owes their whole franchise to this because the show came out around the same time as Bond. The show was in the 60s. The only thing missing in this movie would have been a black girl. Then it would have been a perfect one of the best Bond movies of my youth, my younger years before I was a teenager. That was incredible because there were Asians in Die Another Day, but that's a cartoon. There is a black woman. She's not in the first half of the movie. Halle Berry doesn't come until almost an hour in. They have to give Michelle Yeoh a one action scene by herself. He did a Doctor Strange kind of like gotcha, boom. That was kind of funny. Yeah, there's some humor in it. Yep, watch it. Again, this movie would not be remade today. A white guy punching the hell out of an Asian, yeah, you're not going to see that because people are so overly sensitive now. No matter what Asian they are, Malaysian, Chinese, or Japanese, or Cambodian, or whatever. People are so sensitive now. Like, oh, how dare they? Again, it's a movie, guys. Get over yourselves. Have a little fun. This is a fun movie. I'm glad I watched it again. It's been too long. Hmm. It's very stimulating. This movie. Yeah, because this has humor, but it's not bombarded with humor like in Die Another Day. That one went way too far. That one almost was Batman and Robin, where it just has way too much comedy in it, like Saved by the Bell, and she's looking at his crotch and all that. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit much, guys. I don't hate Die Another Day, but it could have been more like this, shorter and more to the point. My laptop and my phone, the time will go by itself. It'll change in the morning. It's almost done. We got we got about we got about 20 some minutes left, close to 30 minutes. That dragon is pretty cool, even though this year's the year of the fire horse, not the dragon. That he touched the dragon and it went off. Well, it's not a real dragon. It's a statue that has real flames, by the way. It went, "Ah!" I don't think Brosnan was expecting that. That's funny. See, it's comedy. The best comedy is with the jokes you don't see coming. That's funnier to me than something you telegraph like within 2 minutes. Actually, I'm more into Japanese technology because they make the best electronic devices. Yep, on your left. Yeah, this one I have to get it on Blu-ray or DVD eventually because I don't own it and I should. Because I have GoldenEye. If I find this at a yard sale, I'm gonna buy it if it's in good condition. I never buy movies used that are in terrible condition, where the discs are completely massacred. Because this one is really, really entertaining. I was like, wow, this movie is almost 30 years old. It was made 30 years ago, and it's way better than films that come out today. This and GoldenEye are better than the last two Mission Impossible movies, or even the last Kingsman movie, which I didn't see. Uh, the Kingsman, they said it was boring because it's more of a drama than an action film, and it doesn't have Eggsy or anybody. It doesn't even have Colin Firth in. That's also a really good shot. It's too bad this director didn't do any of the other Bond movies because, yeah, he did a good job after Martin Campbell's GoldenEye. I think GoldenEye's a better movie because it's more recognizable. But I'm glad that the girls here are not villains. Like GoldenEye, Famke Janssen, yeah, she's a lot in that movie. She uses her thighs to kill people. I'm like, yeah, that's scary. It's just a real boat. I'm tired of movies looking too digital because they look fake. They don't look like films anymore. They look like I said, 4K demo reels for TVs and video games. They don't look like cinema anymore. Because even some of the Marvel movies that have come out, they look too digital. Sorry, but even Thunderbolts has digital effects in it. It's not like it's completely CG free like the 90s Captain America or something like that. Because Blade had CGI as well. I'm so glad it's going to be warm next week. It's not a perfect film. I think that the villain is underused a little bit because Jonathan Pryce doesn't seem that threatening. He's just like, he's there. He's not terrible. I've seen worse Bond villains. Also, M disappears in the movie. Judy Dench like says hi Bond, and then she disappears. So I don't know why she was in the film. HMS Bedford British Fleet. Said hi, hey Munchie 69. What's up? I get rid of this person because this is not somebody that some of these people are not subscribers. Salvatore is. See, he's over the top, but it's enough not to be annoying. Of course, the Bond girls usually like to work with Bond most of the time, unless they're a villain themselves, like Rosamund Pike or Famke Janssen or Sophie Marceau. Oop, yep, she got hit in the head. Again, it's a submarine. It's not a building. I just miss when movies were made like this. Movies were made back in the day, not manufactured most of the time, except for like you said, Spawn and Batman and Robin had too much CGI in it, and it looks bad. It doesn't look good for even '97. It looks fake, especially Spawn when you have that CGI Malboja. That looks horrible. Even I saw that I think like 2 years ago. I'm like, this looks bad. And these effects, I know they were dated at the time, but they could have done that with a puppet or with a guy in a suit, and it would look better. Not some CGI monstrosity. It's horrifying. We know you do. And her skin is so clean, man. I enjoy all the Brosnan Bond films besides Die Another Day. Yeah, I get it. Also, hey, what's up? What's up, Network 98.9? Because Jonathan Price was doing another film when he did this. I did love Halle Berry. Yeah, she's good. I wish she got her own spin-off instead of that Catwoman movie. That would have been a better uh, investment of her time. He's a cartoon. I told you, yes. He's the one thing in the movie that's hit and miss for me. I think Price's performance is fine. He's committed, but he's too cartoony at the end. He's like, I'm like, guys, this is not a comedy. There's some comedy in it, but it's mostly taken seriously. When they're jumping off the building or on the motorcycle, that's not played for laughs. It's not. This is not a Bond parody like Kingsman or a Spy Hard or something like that. This is a real movie. Yeah, I saw that when I first saw that. I'm like, yeah, that's cringe. Probably the most cringe scene in the movie because he's making fun of her. I'm like, martial arts is a talent, right? Not everybody has it. I would love to learn it so I can, do an action movie. I could do a stunt. She has large, friendly eyes. Would love to meet her at Comic Con, even though this movie is 1997. So, but she could still come for like Super Cop or something like that, or other films that she did. Dude, you're not gonna be able to be. Price hasn't done a movie in China ever. I mean, hell, even in Pirates 3, that movie was in Singapore, not China. Because my mom was like, "Oh, that's in China." I'm like, "No, Singapore. It's a smaller country in Asia that's nothing like China. They didn't even have COVID there as badly as they did in China." Mm-hmm. We're 100 minutes in. The movie's almost over. I'm glad because this movie was getting long, but it's not as long as some of the later films. Like World Is Not Enough is longer, Die Another Day is longer. Definitely all the Craig movies are longer than this. Most of them. Especially No Time to Die. That movie feels 3 hours. Missiles. I say missiles, not missiles.
Yeah, in a way, even though he's way older than him and Michelle Yeoh are closer in age than him and Terry Hatcher. Manipulated the media. Did you hear that, folks? I look fat. I have to walk tomorrow next week because again, the whole winter I was stuck in the house most of the time. I only shoveled snow twice, but I'm gonna get paid for it. So hopefully, yeah. There's a line that would not be said in the movie today. Beijing disappears. Yeah, no, no. His watch and the grenade. This really is an entertaining movie. I forgot how much I enjoyed this movie. I'm definitely gonna give it a higher rating than the last time. I think it's on par with Goldeneye. Just it's a little weak in some side characters are kind of underused, and the villain is not in the film that much. He's in it enough, but he needed a little bit more screen time and did something more threatening. Because when they kill Terry Hatcher, it's off screen. They didn't even have the guts to kill her on screen. Like M is underused in the movie. Q, I get it. This actor was very old, so there's not much he can do. I'm not gonna say because this movie's British. I'm not gonna say this movie's British because this franchise is British, so I'm not. I'm gonna let that go. That's a good line, and I like to see someone Asian doing something, cool. Even though it's not Asian month, but I met Menger Zen last year at Comic Con, and she's really sweet. She gets it. She gets why we're so nerdy and why we wear costumes and why we, go to these conventions in groups. Technically, it's going to be 1 o'clock, not 12 o'clock. There's not a lot of subtitles in the movie too. I appreciate that because some of the later films have a lot of subtitles, like too much. 5 minutes. And Michelle Yeoh, she holds her own in this movie. She doesn't have to have Bond to save her. She shows that she's a capable woman, and since this is International Women's Month, this is perfect. Because Terry Hatcher gets no action scenes. She's in 2 scenes in the movie and then dies off screen, which I thought was kind of pointless. Because I'm like, they couldn't even kill her on screen. They had to kill her off screen. Yeah, I hate when they do that. They did. They also did that to Baron Zemo. I'm not Baron Zemo. Von Strucker in Age of Ultron. They kill him off screen. They didn't have the guts to kill him on screen. At least when Ultron kills Quicksilver, they show it. They don't do it off screen. That's what gives Wanda the motivation to kill all those robots. Okay, back to Mond. Dun, 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 dun. This will give Michael Bay a boner. Good stuff, man. Really good stuff. I'm definitely gonna give this a thumbs up at the end when the it's over. Because Netflix, you can rate a movie. You can't do that on all streaming services, but here you can. Because Disney Plus, you can't. You can't give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You can only do that here, Tubi, Max, and what else? Not Paramount Plus, and some other streaming services. I think also Amazon Prime. You're a hot Asian woman, you. I was 12 when this came out. I should have saw this in the theater. I was only 12 years old. Yep, abandoned ship. All right. I gotta change the clocks on my Nintendo DS and my 3DS. The Switch, I'll wait. When I do Resident Evil tomorrow, it's way shorter than this. It's only an hour and 41 minutes, but with the end credits, without the end credits, like an hour and 30 something. So that one's not gonna be as long as this. I did this because it's a Saturday and I had nothing to do today going outside, so. Whee! You're dead. Bond turns into the Punisher in this movie at the end. 2 minutes. The clock is ticking. Yep. He's gonna get his. It's a brutal death. Yes, sir. Say it on the mountain. Yes. He gets shredded. And they didn't show it because again, they would this would have easily got an R rating if they showed him getting cut into pieces. Yeah, give the people what they want. You hear that, Hollywood? Stop giving us movies we didn't ask for. Because the last 3 months have been a bunch of garbage in the theater. A lot of it, not all of it, but some of it, a lot of it was just movies that flopped because nobody cared. Goat did okay. Send Help did okay. And Scream 7. But did we need like Wuthering Heights and all that? No, we don't. We're not stupid. I love that line. Give the people what they want. A Bond movie hasn't given me what I wanted since Skyfall, honestly, because it was really good. It was just too long. Spectre was boring. Yeah, most of the time women are right. Not all the time. Kathleen Kennedy was wrong from the first moment she produced a Star Wars movie without George Lucas. No one goes to a Bond movie for the drama. We want to see action. We want to see some cool effects. We want to see one-liners. We want to see gorgeous women. We want to see the whole shebang, not just a lot of talking and talking and more talking. That gets boring after a while. Hmm. This movie gets really physical at the end, but nothing too violent because it is a PG-13. This director didn't want to scare off the marketing people because the kids went to go see this in 1997. I didn't, but yep, yep, 9. Mario's gonna give the people what they want in April. That's why it's gonna make a billion, just like the first one. Because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be shocked. Because I'm like, the first one made $1 billion, over $1 billion, and this one will make even more. Yep. Now you're in trouble, buddy. He has to get her because Michelle Yeoh can't breathe underwater. She's not Aquaman or Mira. This is a really good movie. Yeah, I like this film. Yeah. Kiss those beautiful lips. Give her air. Yep. Kaplooey. And Michelle Yeoh was a much better girl than what's her face Denise Richards in The World Is Not Enough. It's because I don't buy her as a scientist. She's gorgeous, but and I liked meeting her at Comic Con, but she's not a scientist. They wrapped her in chains. It's a really good movie. It's a fun movie. It's very entertaining for a movie under 2 hours because that's what worked in this over like the later Bond movies. Because again, those feel really long and they don't need to be that long. Let me get up because the movie's almost over. Yeah, you notice Judy Dench disappears for like half the movie and then shows up at the end like Ving Rhames at the end of Mission Impossible 4. Yeah. That's just sad when a character just has a cameo. I'm not expecting Judy Dench to be doing flips because he's old. Even back in '97, she was older. This is the total package, man. Slow mo. It's on the only slow mo in the movie. There's not a lot of slow mo in the movie. Yes, that's right. Kiss her. They kiss her quickly because, again, it was rare to see a white man kiss an Asian girl back then. That's my dream, man. And that was Tomorrow Never Dies. That was awesome. Rest in peace, Broccoli. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I hope you're up there. That was really entertaining, man. That was fun. I'm gonna rate it. I really like this movie. No, I'll see War Machine next week. That was a really entertaining Bond movie. So Albert Broccoli, thanks for giving us these Bond movies. You're the best. So that was Tomorrow Never Dies, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be doing Resident Evil 2002. Hopefully that comes out well, and see you next time. Yeah.